Welcome to Horse Council of BC Emergency Preparedness for Horse Owners, Module 4, Recovery. In this final module, we are going to cover post-emergency activities. Disaster preparedness does not end when the emergency event ends. Recovery is a vital part of being prepared. We are going to begin this section with facility inspections. If your horse is sheltered in place, you will need to perform an inventory. If you are missing horses, you will need to notify local authorities or equine organizations on how many you are missing and provide the information they will need to identify the horse and your ownership. A full inspection of your facility needs to be performed. You will want to make sure that the facility is safe and able to provide your animals what they need in regards to feed, water, and safe containment. If you have evacuated, you will want to do this inspection before picking animals up from the evacuation site. You will need to be looking for any fencing that needs repair, any broken or missing gates, any trees or structures that are damaged and at risk of collapse, any debris such as roofing material, farm equipment, tools, or wood with nails or screws in them, or any down power lines. If you have any power lines down on your property, stay away, do not touch them, and remove all horses from the area immediately. Other considerations will include: do you have access to water if your waters are damaged or if your power is out and you cannot get water from your well? Has your feed source been damaged or destroyed? Do the animals have access to shelters or have they been damaged or destroyed? Do you require temporary housing or penning if you are unable to contain animals in existing facility? And is there anything such as downed trees or washed out bridges that will impact access to your farm for veterinarians or other first responders? In the event of flooding, once the water clears, you will need to do a full inspection of your facilities as discussed in the previous slide, and also be aware of the fact that you may be at risk of contaminated water, that you may have dead animals, wild or domestic, that were left behind by the waters that will need to be disposed of, and that there may be a significant amount of debris left behind when the water recedes that you will need to clear up. If your facilities are unable to house the animals safely and provide them what they need, you will need to find a place to temporarily house them while repairs are being made. Along with the facility repairs, you may also need to access feed for your horses if yours was lost during the event. You should have your water tested to ensure it is safe to drink and that you still have enough to supply all your horses and your personal needs. For catastrophic events where you lost your barns, stables, or even your house, you may need to find a more long-term alternative for housing your horses until you can rebuild. In some cases, unfortunately, you may need to find a new permanent home for your horses by selling them or putting them up for adoption. If you find a loose or abandoned horse or other livestock, you will need to contact Ownership Identification Inc., and they will assist in finding the owner. No horse should be turned over to anyone without some proof of ownership. We will now do a quick overview of considerations for animal health after the event has passed. We covered animal health at the time of the event in Module 2. No matter the emergency event, all horses should be monitored for up to 2 weeks from the time of the event, even if they showed no outward signs of injury. High-stress events make horses more susceptible to colic and laminitis. They may go off feed, act depressed, or become ill. Unfortunately, disaster events can often lead to a significant loss of animal life. If you do lose animals at your farm or facility, you will need to check with your region or municipality to see if they have established a designated area for disposal of dead stock. If you choose to bury an animal on your farm, you will need to ensure that you follow the provincial guidelines for burial of livestock. We are going to wrap up this series with a discussion on mental health. Emergency events can significantly impact the social well-being of horse or livestock owners, custodians, and other personnel involved in the event. Horse owners and custodians may face many different stresses during an emergency that can personally impact their mental well-being, as well as the mental well-being of associated staff. It is important that resources be made available to all those involved to help them identify symptoms so they are able to cope properly with the situation. Many people often neglect to share their internal struggles with others, so it is important that those around them are able to identify potential symptoms, both physical and behavioral. This checklist is provided to act as a resource so people are able to assess their own mental health as well as the mental health of others around them and determine whether they should seek help. If you or anyone you know is exhibiting symptoms, the first thing to do is to ask for help. We will now do a quick review of the key points from Module 3. Disaster preparedness does not end when the emergency event ends. Recovery is an important part of disaster preparedness. You will need to perform a full inspection of your farm or facility before returning your horses home, or to determine if you can keep them there during recovery. Any stray animals should be reported to Ownership Identification, Inc. immediately. The health of all animals should be monitored for at least 2 weeks post-event. If you or anyone you know is experiencing mental health issues, please seek help. You have now reached the end of Module 3 and the HCBC Emergency Preparedness for Horse Owners series. Please take the time to use the information provided in this series to develop your own disaster preparedness plan.